The Innovators Network.
Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Welcome to this week's Killer Innovation Show. We are recording the show in the bus. We are currently parked in Florida, getting out of the winter weather in Colorado. Over the last couple of months, I've done a couple of episodes talking about thinking styles and how thinking styles and practicing and learning and becoming proficient allows you to look at problems and opportunities in unique and different way. Now, one thinking style that I have not yet addressed on the show, and that is around intuitive thinking. Using that gut feel, using the experience, using those patterns you recognize to be able to look at problems in unique and different way. Now, the question I get is how much should you trust your gut when it comes to innovation? Or should you just rely on data and facts? I would argue that you need to do both. Intuitive thinking allows you to see the problem in a very unique and different way. You bring the whole you, your experience, your expertise, what you see. That is what we're going to talk about in today's show. We're going to answer the question, is intuition required for innovation? But before we hop into this week's episode, got that favor to ask, follow, like, and share. Follow us on social media, sign up and subscribe to the newsletter, the weekly newsletter. Subscribe to the show, follow us. Subscribe, let other people know about us, and then share. Share with others. Let other people know about the show. Let them know the value and the benefit that you get from the show. We've been seeing over the last couple of months a pretty significant growth in the downloads of the podcast, and I want to thank you all for your help in spreading the word. We could not do it without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, without further ado, let's get into this week's show on intuitive thinking.
This episode is sponsored by Zoom. With Zoom, you can streamline your communication, collaboration, and creativity all in one place. Zoom is the market-leading platform that provides video meetings, voice, webinars, and chat across desktops, phones, tablets, and conference room systems. To learn more about Zoom and sign up for your free account, visit killerinnovations.com/Zoom.
Intuitive thinking, sometimes referred to as thinking on autopilot, is a type of thinking based on prior experience and mental shortcuts. It involves using heuristics and pattern recognition to make decisions quickly and efficiently. Intuitive thinking is important because it allows us to make decisions without pausing for conscious analysis or deliberation. This helps us react swiftly in situations when we don't have enough information or we're out of time, which is quite common in innovation. It can be argued that intuitive thinking is an essential part of everyday life. It allows us to save energy and make decisions more quickly than if we were attempting to analyze every single detail of a given situation. It also allows us to see and intuit things that are not obvious, such as solutions to problems that others don't see. Furthermore, our intuition often helps us guide us towards making better decisions than if we used conscious thought processes alone. Studies have shown that our instincts can be trusted in certain scenarios, such as predicting the outcome of sporting events or guessing the answer to a problem before checking out the answer key. Intuitive thinking has drawbacks, though, as it relies upon past experiences, which may not always lead us in the right direction. It can also be influenced by personal biases, assumptions which may cloud our judgment. As such, it is important that we take time out from relying on intuition periodically and instead use conscious thought process more deliberately when making critical decisions. So, what are some examples of intuitive thinking with relation to innovation? One example is the story of Henry Ford and his development of the Model T automobile. Ford had a vision of making an affordable car that could be used by families, and he knew that he needed an innovative solution. He could not rely on how transportation was developed at that time. He began experimenting with different designs and materials until he eventually settled on the idea of mass producing vehicles. However, it was not just technical specifications that made this decision successful. Ford also relied on his intuition to ensure that what he was trying to achieve would be successful. He believed that people were looking for something new, something reliable, and affordable. And he took a chance in creating his own product line, one that would revolutionize transportation as we know it today. Ford trusted his gut instinct and went against industrial trends at the time, believing in himself and his vision despite the risks involved. His intuition guided him towards making the right decisions, such as choosing the assembly line over hand building cars or inventing new tools like wheel molds instead of relying solely on manual labor. Ultimately, these decisions ushered in a new era for car manufacturing, one where efficient production could result in cost savings for consumers without sacrificing quality or reliability. By trusting his intuition, Henry Ford created an innovative solution to a problem that had existed for years: how to make transportation more accessible and affordable without compromising that quality or reliability. It was only after years of trial and error and experimentation, coupled with intuitive thinking, that Ford achieved success with his Model T automobile, leading to one of the greatest inventions of all times. Now, what is the history of intuition? Intuitive thinking has been a part of human decision making for centuries. It is that ability to make decisions based on instinct, insight, or gut feeling, rather than relying solely on conscious thought processes or facts and figures. While intuitive thinking has long been viewed as an innate trait that some people possess while others do not, recent research suggests otherwise. Anyone can cultivate their own intuition through practice and experience. The concept of intuitive thinking dates back to ancient Greece, when philosophers such as Plato argued that all knowledge was already present within the soul and could be accessed if one was willing to trust their instincts. This idea spread throughout Europe during the Renaissance and gained popularity among scientists who saw its potential applications in fields like medicine. In more modern times, intuitive thinking has become increasingly accepted by academics and business leaders alike due to its efficiency in helping us make quick decisions without being overwhelmed by too much information, or worse, analysis paralysis. As a result, many organizations have begun utilizing methods such as data visualization tools, which allow them to analyze large data sets better while still allowing room for intuitive thought processes when necessary. Our brains are wired for both rational thought and intuitive insight, meaning that each play an important role when it comes to decision-making processes, such as identifying new opportunities for growth or creating something entirely new from scratch. While rational thought allows us to analyze data objectively, intuitive thinking gives us access to subconscious information, which may provide more creative answers than traditional methods alone. Ultimately, this shows that proper training and practice, anyone can develop their own unique style of decision making, which includes elements of both conscious, analytical thoughts as well as intuitive thinking. By combining these two, it's possible to make better decisions more quickly and efficiently than ever before. So, what are the types of intuition? They can be broken down into three primary types: cognitive, emotional, and spiritual. Cognitive innovation and intuition is the ability to draw on experiences and use them to identify patterns or trends in order to make more informed decisions. It involves being able to make connections between facts, experiences, and observations quickly and accurately without needing to spend time analyzing the data in detail. Emotional intuition involves being able to interpret people's feelings and intentions and respond accordingly. It is based on instinct, gut feeling, or intuition about how someone might behave in certain situations. By understanding the emotional state of your customers, partners, or stakeholders, we can come up with ideas that are more meaningful and have a greater impact. This type of intuition also helps us understand what our competitors may be doing, allowing us to stay ahead of the game and create something unique. And finally, spiritual intuition is based on tapping into our own inner wisdom, connecting with a higher power or source of knowledge. It is about trusting our instincts and being open to new possibilities and ideas, even if they may seem so far-fetched and so unlikely to succeed at first glance. By connecting with a greater power, we can look beyond what is known and explore uncharted areas of thought in order to come up with something truly innovative. So, what about developing your intuition? It is important to develop your intuition. It's part of improving your decision making, problem solving, and your overall well being. There are several steps we can take to nurture our intuitive skills, such as calming our mind, focusing on one goal at a time, trusting our gut, and seeking out advice from experts. So, calming the mind is key to developing intuition. We must clear away distractions and noise and to listen more closely to that inner voice. Meditation and mindfulness exercises are great ways to achieving this, as they help us become aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment or attachment. Taking time each day for introspection will help us gain greater insight into ourselves and the environment around us. Focusing on one goal at a time also helps harnessing intuition. When faced with tough decisions or looming tasks, it helps to narrow down our options and prioritize what needs to be done first. Making lists or breaking down complex tasks into smaller, achievable chunks help us keep track of progress and focus at the task at hand. Trusting your gut instinct can also be beneficial when trying to make sense of information or come up with creative solutions to problems quickly. Intuition typically works faster than conscious thought, so learning when and how to trust your gut feelings can help us make decisions more efficiently and accurately. Seeking advice from experts is another great way of boosting our intuitive powers. When faced with distinct problems that require specialized knowledge or experience, talking to someone who's been through similar situations can give us valuable guidance about what might work best for us in any given situation. They may also be able to provide insight in how others have approached similar dilemmas, which could provide valuable lessons for us going forward. Overall, developing one's intuition takes practice, but it can be immensely helpful when it comes to making difficult decisions or solving complex problems quickly and accurately. Achieving a state of calmness, having clarity, focus, and trust in oneself is key to honing this skill set over time. So when should you follow your intuition? Using intuition to make decisions versus more structured approaches has benefits and drawbacks. Intuition can be used in decisions when the situation is complex, abstract, or uncertain. When the decision maker needs a sixth sense to interpret certain cues or when speed is of the essence. Intuitive decision making allows us to draw on our experience and knowledge, subconsciously process data, and act quickly in response to changing conditions. However, there are also situations when more structured approaches can be more beneficial. If a decision involves all complex information that needs to be understood in detail, a methodical approach will likely result in a better outcome than relying on intuition alone. For example, if you need to choose between two investments with complicated financial models attached, it would be wiser to take your time and analyze the underlying data rather than relying on instinctive feelings about which option is best. Structured approaches are also useful when dealing with highly predictable tasks, such as budgeting or to-do lists. Following a set of plans makes it easier to stay on track with structured thinking. Although intuition can help us make snap decisions in difficult situations, it pays off to take time to reflect before committing ourselves. It's important to remember that intuition is not infallible. Sometimes we just don't have enough information available or may not have enough experience with the problem at hand for our intuition to be accurate. Intuition gives us the ability to use our experience, knowledge, and gut feelings to make those snap decisions in difficult situations. The more experience you have, the better your intuition will be, and vice versa. It also helps to learn from those more experienced than yourselves by either working with them or having them mentor you. However, intuitive thinking should always be supplemented with an objective analysis of the facts and evidence before making a decision. A balance between these two styles allows us to maximize our chances of success by combining instinctive reactions with rational thought processes. Ultimately, the key to using intuitive thinking successfully is to remain aware of our own biases and limitations. By taking a mindful approach to decision making, considering multiple perspectives, multiple sources of feedback, and the potential risks, we can ensure that our decisions are based on sound evidence rather than relying solely on our own intuition. Doing so can help us avoid misguided decisions and maximize the potential for successful innovation. So, how much do you trust your gut? When it comes to the innovation work that you're working on, how much do you trust your gut? Now, be careful. As it was shared in the main segment, experience plays an important role. And be aware of where you have experience or where you think you have the experience because you read about something or you worked with somebody who had that experience and they told you stories. That is not the same as having experience. When I talk about experience, that is first person. That is you having had that experience. And know the limitations. If you have not had the experience, double check that gut to know whether or not are you basing it on something or is it just something you're taking a whim. Because ego, arrogance, hubris can get in the way of successful intuition, trusting that gut and having that insight into something, a problem, a solution that could lead to that innovation breakthrough. That, when you don't have that experience, find the expertise who's had that experience. That will reduce your risk and ensure a highly likelihood of success for your innovation effort. And with that, we're going to wrap up this week's show. Thank you very much for staying in there with us today. As I keep saying over and over again, time is your most valuable asset, and you have chosen to give that time to us, and we greatly appreciate it. Check out theinnovators.network. That's where all the podcasts, my writings, Kim McNicholas. We've got a couple of new podcasts, one on software innovation. We also have one in the works on AR and VR innovations that'll all be posted and hosted over at the Innovators Network. So you want to go over there, subscribe to the newsletter. That'll keep you updated as we introduce new shows and new authors, new journalists joining the network, posting their journalism on innovations over on that site. So it's theinnovators.network. You can also cheat and you can just say 10.000. That is a valid URL, and that will take you directly to the Innovators Network. 10.000 will take you right to the Innovators Network. And with that, thank you again for your time. Really appreciate it. We will catch you next week here on the show. Until then, get out there, work on that idea, work on this intuitive thinking skill, build up that gut, know when to listen to it and when to question it, and you will be more successful in your innovation efforts. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.
This show is distributed by the Innovators Network. For more information and other great shows and content, visit theinnovators.network.